Vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, on vocabulary preview today, we have two small words. So the first one is bar exam.
The bar exam.
The bar exam.
So the bar exam is that formal test that lawyers must do to become official lawyers.
Right. So it's that final exam in order to finally become a lawyer. Okay, and what about our next word?
Well, we're also going to hear in the dialogue obnoxious.
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 Okay, so this is an adjective.
Yes, and it means something that is really, really annoying.
Okay, so something can be obnoxious.
Or someone.
Okay, very good. So now we have these two words that we're going to listen to in the dialogue. And now let's listen to two people as they flatter each other in our dialogue.
Valerie, hi. Wow, how have you been? It's been such a long time.
Darlene, indeed, it's been a while. How have you been? Wow, you look amazing. I love what you've done with your hair.
Really? Thanks. I went to that hair salon you told me about, but enough about me. Look at you. God, you haven't aged a day. What is your secret?
Come on. Well, I've been watching what I eat, and I work out 3 times a week. By the way, I heard your son recently graduated.
Yes, my little Paul is finally a doctor. They grow up so fast, you know.
He is such a handsome guy. He gets his looks from his mother, of course.
Thank you. What about your daughter, Pamela? I heard she passed the bar exam and married recently.
Oh, yes, she had a beautiful wedding in Cozumel, Mexico, and we all attended.
Such a lovely girl. I hope my Paul is lucky enough to find a girl like that someday.
But of course. Well, it's been great talking to you, but I have to get going.
Same here. We'll catch up soon, maybe over coffee.
That would be great. Give me a call.
See you soon. Bye. Ugh, I cannot stand that woman or her obnoxious daughter.
All right, so this is your typical, normal, everyday behavior that women show to each other, right?
Yeah, I think it's very common. It's very hard to argue against this because I think everyone does it, or at least you've heard maybe your mother or somebody talk to her friends like this, right?
So pretend you like a person who you actually hate.
Right, you have to be courteous.
Is that what you're doing to me now?
All right, no, I'm not, but we can take a look at some of this great language, very rich language that we found in this dialogue in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, we're doing things a little bit different in this lesson. So we're going to do 2 fluency builders. And in the first one, we're going to focus on language you can use to flatter someone.
Right. So let's get started. In the very first part of the dialogue, we heard Valerie say, "I love what you've done with your hair."
I love what you've done with your hair.
I love what you've done with.
I love what you've done with.
Okay, so if somebody says this, basically they're saying,
I like the change you made.
Okay, and change not only to your hair, right?
It could be anything. So I love what you've done with your new house.
Okay, or I can say, I love what you've done with your garden. It looks so beautiful.
So something that you've changed, you can use this phrase for.
Okay, and in this case, it's her hair. So she is complimenting her on her hair.
We also heard Darlene say, you haven't aged a day.
You haven't aged a day.
You haven't aged a day.
Okay, so now she is saying that she hasn't gotten any older.
That's right. To age is to get older.
Okay, so this is a very common way of telling somebody you look great.
That's right. You look young.
You look young. You look great. You haven't aged a day.
All right, so then they talk about their kids, and they're talking about the son, and Valerie says, he's such a handsome guy.
He is such a handsome guy.
He is such a handsome guy.
Okay, so this structure is important because now I can change the adjective and I am saying he is very intelligent. He is such an intelligent guy.
That's right. Or even, this is such a good day.
All right, very good. So now why don't we combine the two phrases that we've just heard? I love what you've done with and he is such a, and let's listen to some examples.
Example 1.
We love what you've done with this place. Such a beautiful room.
Example 2. I love what you've done with your hair. Such a nice colour on you. Example 3.
I love what you've done with this space. Such a wonderful garden.
Okay, I really like how those two phrases can fit together.
Yeah, they are very good and now you can use them together or separately like in the dialogue.
That's right. Now let's move to our final flattering phrase. Valerie says that Darlene's son gets his looks from his mother.
Right, she says he gets his looks from his mother, of course.
He gets his looks from.
Okay, so when she says he gets his looks from, she is saying his appearance.
His positive appearance, his good appearance.
Right, his good looks. Okay, so now we can change the noun and I can say he gets his intelligence from his father.
Right? Or even he gets his beautiful singing voice from his mother.
Okay, so now typically you would say his mother, his father, or maybe one of the grandparents, right?
Maybe, yeah.
But you wouldn't say he gets his good looks from his brother.
No. No. Mother, father, grandma, grandpa.
All right, so now that we've covered 4 great ways of flattering someone, let's listen to this dialogue again, but we're going to slow it down a little bit so you can pick up on these phrases.
Valerie, hi. Wow, how have you been? It's been such a long time.
Darlene, indeed, it's been a while. How have you been? Wow, you look amazing. I love what you've done with your hair.
Really? Thanks. I went to that hair salon you told me about, but enough about me. Look at you. God, you haven't aged a day. What is your secret?
Come on. Well, I've been watching what I eat and I work out 3 times a week. By the way, I heard your son recently graduated.
Yes, my little Paul is finally a doctor. They grow up so fast, you know.
He is such a handsome guy. He gets his looks from his mother, of course.
Thank you. What about your daughter, Pamela? I heard she passed the bar exam and married recently.
Oh, yes, she had a beautiful wedding in Cozumel, Mexico, and we all attended.
Such a lovely girl. I hope my Paul is lucky enough to find a girl like that someday.
But of course. Well, it's been great talking to you, but I have to get going.
Same here. We'll catch up soon, maybe over coffee.
That would be great. Give me a call.
See you soon. Bye. Ugh, I cannot stand that woman or her obnoxious daughter.
Okay, so we see a lot of great flattering language in this dialogue, but we also have some really good language and phrases you can use in small talk in any situation.
Right, so maybe if you talk to a friend that you haven't seen in a while, we have some really great phrases for, as you say, small talk.
So let's look at those now in Fluency Builder, Part 2.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so let's start with the first phrase. She says, Valerie, hi, wow, how are you? It's been such a long time.
It's been such a long time.
It's been such a long time.
So basically here she's saying we haven't seen each other in a long time.
Right, but it kind of gives you that idea that she regrets not talking to her for such a long time.
Yeah, she wishes she could have talked to her.
It's been such a long time. How are you?
So a wonderful way to start a conversation. So when they start talking about their kids, Valerie says, by the way, I heard your son recently graduated.
Right. By the way, I heard your son recently graduated.
So this phrase, by the way, I heard, blah, blah, blah is really, really useful.
Right. Let's take a look at the first part. By the way.
So this is a way to connect two different ideas or to start a new topic.
Exactly. And now when she says, I heard your son recently graduated.
So we use this phrase, I heard, when we've got information that we're not sure about.
Right? Or also you are demonstrating interest about a certain topic or a news event that you would like to know about.
Right. And so basically you're asking the other person, tell me about this.
Right. So I can say, hey, by the way, I heard you got married.
So then I'd tell you all about my wedding.
Exactly. Okay, so this is a very common way of talking to someone or getting some more information from a person. So let's listen to some more examples of by the way.
Example 1. By the way, I heard you've recently been promoted. Example 2.
I heard your daughter just had a baby. Congratulations.
Example 3. Oh, I heard you just got back from holiday in France.
All right, now, since these two ladies don't like each other very much, they want to end the conversation, right?
Right, they want to end the conversation and, well, you want to end it in a polite way, right?
So they use a really great phrase here. They said, it's been great talking to you, but I have to get going.
Right, so it's like, well, it's been great talking to you, but I have to get going.
So it's been great talking to you. I've enjoyed talking to you.
Right. So this is a very polite, very subtle way of saying, hey, I have to go, or bye, I can't talk anymore.
Yeah, when you say that, you know that the conversation is ending.
Exactly. Now, she says, I have to get going. What does it mean, get going? That doesn't make much sense.
Basically, it just means leave.
Okay, I have to leave. I have to get going. You should get going. You're going to be late.
Exactly.
Okay.
Some really good small talk phrases that are useful in any situation. So why don't we hear them again one more time by listening to the dialogue?
Valerie, hi. Wow, how have you been? It's been such a long time.
Darlene, indeed, it's been a while. How have you been? Wow, you look amazing. I love what you've done with your hair.
Really? Thanks. I went to that hair salon you told me about, but enough about me. Look at you. God, you haven't aged a day. What is your secret?
Come on. Well, I've been watching what I eat, and I work out 3 times a week. By the way, I heard your son recently graduated.
Yes, my little Paul is finally a doctor. They grow up so fast, you know.
He is such a handsome guy. He gets his looks from his mother, of course.
Thank you. What about your daughter, Pamela? I heard she passed the bar exam and married recently.
Oh, yes. She had a beautiful wedding in Cozumel, Mexico, and we all attended.
Such a lovely girl. I hope my Paul is lucky enough to find a girl like that someday.
But of course. Well, it's been great talking to you, but I have to get going.
Same here. We'll catch up soon, maybe over coffee.
That would be great. Give me a call.
See you soon. Bye. Ugh. I cannot stand that woman or her obnoxious daughter.
All right, very good. So now you have a couple of phrases that you can use to flatter someone, be it your friend or somebody that you know or anyone. And, well, they are very, very useful, and if you use them correctly, of course.
Right, and these phrases sound really honest and really natural, very native-like.
Okay, so if you have any other questions or comments, or if you want to share some other phrases that you use to flatter people, come to our website at englishpod.com and leave them in our comments section.
So Marco and I have to get going, but we're looking forward to seeing you on the website. Thanks for listening, and until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to another lesson here with us at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we are going to have a very casual, normal conversation.
That's right. We're going to listen in on some small talk between a taxi driver and the passenger.
Small talk. So that's basically
Small, short conversations you have with someone that you don't know very well.
Okay, so typical questions like how old are you, where you're from,
Yep.
etc.
That's right. And this can be really hard for English learners because they often don't know what the right thing to say or the right thing to talk about. So we're going to give you a lot of phrases in this lesson that you can use in small talk.
Okay, so we don't have anything to preview today, so let's listen to the dialogue for the first time and then we'll come back.
Where to, miss?
Hi, Crenshaw and Hawthorne at the Holiday Inn that is on that corner.
Sure thing. So, where are you flying in from?
From China.
Really? You don't look very Chinese to me, if you don't mind me saying so.
It's fine. I am actually from Mexico. I was in China on a business trip, visiting some local companies that manufacture bathroom products.
Wow, sounds interesting. Excuse me if I'm being a bit nosy, but how old are you?
Don't you know it's rude to ask a lady her age?
Don't get me wrong. It's just that you seem so young and already doing business overseas.
Well, thank you. In that case, I am 26 years old. And what about yourself?
I'm 40 years old and was born and raised here in the good old US of A. Although I have some Colombian heritage.
Really? That's great. Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah, of course.
Qué bien, entonces podemos hablar en español.
All right, so I don't think this guy spoke much Spanish, do you?
No, even though he has Colombian heritage, I think he doesn't speak much. But maybe he's just a little bit rusty.
Maybe, but what he does speak is English. And since this is English Pod, why don't we look at some of the phrases that they used for small talk in Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
All right, so today on Fluency Builder, we're going to take a look at phrases that both the passenger and the taxi driver use to make small talk. So why don't we start with the first one?
All right, so the taxi driver tells the passenger that she doesn't look very Chinese, if you don't mind me saying so.
Right, so he said, you don't look very Chinese to me, if you don't mind me saying so.
If you don't mind me saying so.
So what does he mean by this last part of his sentence?
Well, this is a phrase that we use to soften a sort of a statement that might be a little bit rude.
She could be Chinese.
Yeah.
Right? So it may be a little bit rude to say that, but he kind of apologizes.
That's right.
Right? By saying, if you don't mind me saying so.
Okay, so for example, I could say, hey, Marco, you look a little tired today, if you don't mind me saying so.
Okay, so does it always go at the end?
You could use it at the beginning. If you don't mind me saying so, I just don't think this is a good idea.
Okay, very good. So you can use this phrase in the beginning or at the end of a sentence.
Right, and it makes your statement a little bit less rude.
If you don't mind me saying so. Now, again, he also apologizes a little bit when he says, excuse me if I am being a bit nosy, but...
Excuse me if I'm being a bit nosy, but...
Excuse me if I'm being a bit nosy, but...
Okay, so let's take a look at this. Nosy, what's this?
Okay, when somebody is nosy, it means they're very curious. They are asking too many questions.
Yeah, asking more questions than they should ask.
Right. So he apologizes and says, well, excuse me if I'm asking too many questions. And then he asks her another question.
He asks her how old she is.
Right. So again, it's a polite way of maybe asking a question that might be a little bit sensitive.
Yeah, or a little bit impolite.
Okay. So, of course, asking a woman her age maybe is a little bit impolite, right?
Yes, typically women don't like that too much. But our next phrase, we heard the taxi driver say, don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so don't get me wrong. He says, well, don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
That's right. This phrase is used so commonly in English that I think it would help us to hear some examples.
Example 1.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I think you stole my computer. It's just that you were the only one who could get into my room.
Example 2. I do have a few problems with the plan, but don't get me wrong, I still think it's a good idea. Example 3.
Don't get me wrong. I think John's a nice guy. He's just a bit disorganized.
All right, very good example. So don't get me wrong, right?
That's right.
And now for the final phrase on putting it together today.
Well, the passenger, the woman, says her age. She says, I'm 26 years old. And what about yourself?
What about yourself?
What about yourself?
All right, now, this sentence isn't very correct, actually, right?
Yeah, technically it's not correct in grammar, but it is used so commonly every day by American English speakers that we thought we'd show it to you.
Okay, so you would say, I am 26 years old, and what about you?
That's right.
Okay, but commonly you will hear people say, what about yourself?
And if you use this, you'll sound really fluent and really native-like.
Okay, very good. So what about yourself?
So again, it's just like, what about you? So I could say, hey, Marco, I'm going away on holiday this weekend. And what about yourself?
Okay, what about yourself? So we've taken a look at these 4 phrases on putting it together. Why don't we listen to the dialogue for the second time? We're going to slow it down a little bit, and then we'll come back and take a look at some vocabulary words on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Well, we've got some interesting vocabulary words and phrases here in language takeaway. And the first one.
Well, after she gets in the taxi and tells him where she wants to go, he answers by saying, sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
So if I say, yeah, sure thing, what does that mean?
Well, let's listen to some examples to help us understand.
Example 1. Do you mind lending me $100?
Sure thing.
Example 2. Could you please send me the email by the end of the day?
Sure thing.
Example 3.
Do you mind lending me $100?
Sure thing.
Could you please send me the email by the end of the day?
Sure thing. Example 4. Can you get some milk on the way home?
Sure thing, I'm on my way now.
Okay, so sure thing, basically, yeah, no problem, or okay,
Or I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yep.
It's fine.
Yep.
So it's a very common way. You will hear this a lot when somebody agrees or says, yes, no problem.
Yeah, and again, it will help you sound really native-like to use this phrase. Well, the next one, the taxi driver says, I was born and raised here.
I was born and raised here.
Born and raised.
Okay, so this is a way of saying I was born in this country and I haven't left this country.
That's right. So I'm from this country.
Okay, born and raised here in the good old US of A.
Good old US of A.
The good old US of A.
So this is a pretty interesting way of saying America.
Right. It's actually more of a phrase, right? The good old US of A.
Yep.
Okay, so it means the good United States of America.
Yeah, it's kind of a fond way or friendly way of describing America.
All right. And we have one more word for language takeaway.
Well, the taxi driver was talking about his Colombian heritage.
Colombian heritage.
Heritage.
All right, so if I have Colombian heritage, what does that mean?
Your grandmother or, grandfather, great-grandmother, or someone in your family is from Colombia.
Okay, and what about the word heritage by itself?
Yeah, so your heritage is basically your culture, your...
Customs.
Yeah, your customs, your history.
Okay, so heritage. A country rich in heritage.
Lots of good old historical culture in that country.
Okay, very good. So now it's time for us to listen to the dialogue for the last time. Now we can understand all these phrases and these great words that we've just looked at, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
Where to, miss?
Hi, Crenshaw and Hawthorne at the Holiday Inn that is on that corner.
Sure thing. So, where are you flying in from?
From China.
Really? You don't look very Chinese to me, if you don't mind me saying so.
It's fine. I am actually from Mexico. I was in China on a business trip, visiting some local companies that manufacture bathroom products.
Wow, sounds interesting. Excuse me if I'm being a bit nosy, but how old are you?
Don't you know it's rude to ask a lady her age?
Don't get me wrong. It's just that you seem so young and already doing business overseas.
Well, thank you. In that case, I am 26 years old. And what about yourself?
I am 40 years old and was born and raised here in the good old US of A, although I have some Colombian heritage.
Really? That's great. Do you speak some Spanish?
Yeah, of course.
¡Qué bien! Entonces podemos hablar en español.
So, Marco, this taxi driver makes a bit of a mistake when he asks the woman how old she is.
Yes, yeah, exactly. There are a couple of questions that in some cultures are considered to be normal and okay,
Yep.
but in other cultures they're not really well accepted.
Okay, so in Anglo culture, for example, it's really impolite to ask a woman how old she is.
Right, women are a little bit more sensitive about their age. Others aren't so much, but it's usually better to just not ask.
Yep. And what else should we avoid talking about in small talk?
Well, for example, when you ask a person their occupation,
Yep.
you can ask what they do for a living, but don't ask how much money they make.
That's right. Anglo people are really sensitive about talking about money. We hate talking about money.
Right, so don't ask somebody their salary or how much money they make. It's just not considered to be polite.
And another good one to be careful of is asking if someone is married or not.
Right, sometimes you're just being friendly and you
Yeah.
want to know if that person has family or
Yeah.
something. But you have to be careful when and where you ask this question.
Right. So if they've mentioned their family, or if they talked about their kids or something else to do with their family, then it's okay.
Right, you can say, well, oh, how long have you been married?
Yeah.
But if a guy asks a girl, oh, are you married? It kind of sounds like maybe he's interested in her or that he's trying to come on to her and to be maybe more than friendly, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So some great small talk tips and phrases here at English Pod. Now, if you have any questions about this lesson or any other lessons, be sure to visit our website at englishpod.com.
And if you also have any doubts about which questions you think are appropriate of asking somebody, yeah, come into the website and let us know.
So thanks for downloading, you guys, and until next time, goodbye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another great lesson with us here at English Pod. My name is Marco,
And I'm Erica.
and today we're going to be talking about an ER, an emergency room.
Exactly. We're bringing you our very own ER drama here at English Pod.
Yeah, doctor shows are very popular with people, medical terms and all that stuff.
Yeah, so we're going to teach you some words that you might hear commonly in medical shows on TV or in movies. This is really common language in television.
Or even at a hospital, right?
Well, yeah, but let's hope our listeners don't have to face this.
Okay, so let's preview some words in vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so what's our first word?
Okay, the first word is CPR.
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 So that's pretty easy. What does that mean?
Well, it's short for cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Okay.
If that means anything to you.
Well, cardio is related to the heart.
Uh-huh.
Pulmonary refers to the lungs.
Yep.
Resuscitation means to come back to life.
Yes. So basically, CPR is, you know, when someone stops breathing, you put your mouth on their mouth and you breathe inside their lungs.
Okay, to give them air.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So CPR.
That's CPR. Okay. So let's take a look at our next word. BP.
BP.
So BP is short for
Blood pressure.
blood pressure. That's
Yeah.
just the way that doctors use it in the emergency room.
Exactly. Pretty simple.
Okay, so blood pressure. And our last word, acute respiratory failure.
Acute respiratory failure.
So what is that exactly? That sounds complicated.
Basically, it's really serious that you stop breathing.
You stop breathing.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you go into acute respiratory failure, then the doctor or somebody has to perform CPR.
Right.
All right, cool. Okay, so we've previewed these three great words. Now let's listen to our dialogue for the first time. It's going to be really fast and you're going to have a lot of drama in it, so don't worry if you don't understand everything.
Yeah, we're going to come back and teach you some of the important language.
Help! Are you a doctor? My poor little Frankie has just stopped breathing. Oh my gosh, help me. I tried to perform CPR, but I don't know if I could get any air into his lungs. Oh, Frankie.
Helen, get him hooked up to a monitor. Somebody page Dr. Hauser. Get the patient hold still. I can't get a pulse. Okay, he's on the monitor. His BP's falling. He's flatlining.
No! Frankie! Doctor, do something!
Someone get her out of here. Get me the defibrillator. Okay, clear? Again, clear? Come on, damn it, I'm not letting go of you. Clear! I got a pulse.
Okay, what's happening?
Patient is in acute respiratory failure. I think we're going to have to intubate.
All right, tubes in. Bag him. Somebody give him 10 cc's shot of adrenaline. Let's go. People, move, move.
Doctor, oh, thank God. How is he?
We've managed to stabilize Frankie, but he's not out of the woods yet. He's still in critical condition. We're moving him to intensive care, but...
Doctor, just do whatever it takes. I just want my little Frankie to be okay. I couldn't imagine life without my little hamster.
Wow, so much drama over a little hamster.
Yeah, a little pet, hey?
A little pet, the little hamster.
Well, you know what? I can relate to this owner, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that later.
Yeah, I know you have a really good story about this.
Yeah, but in the meantime, let's look at some great language in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so let's take a look at our first word. Intubate.
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 So this is a medical procedure.
Exactly. When a patient can't breathe properly, sometimes the doctor takes a long tube and puts it into their mouth and down their pipes, I guess, down their breathing tube.
Right.
So that they can breathe better.
Okay, so that's to intubate.
Yes.
Okay, so once they've intubated the patient, they start to bag him.
Yeah, bag him.
Bag him.
Bag him.
Does that mean they like put a bag over the person's head or something?
No. So there's a bag attached to this intubation tube, and you squeeze it to put air into the lungs.
Okay, so you squeeze this bag and it puts air through the tube.
I think this is just medical slang.
Yeah, I guess bag him.
But you hear it all the time on TV, so it's
Right.
important our listeners know it.
Okay. Let's look at our next word. Critical condition.
Critical condition.
Critical condition.
The patient's in critical condition.
This condition means it's serious.
Right. If a patient is in critical condition, they're either really, really hurt or really, really sick, and they could die pretty soon.
Okay. So you don't want to be in critical condition.
No.
Let's take a look at our next word. Stabilize.
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 So when the doctors stabilize a patient, they take that patient out of danger.
Exactly. When a patient is stabilized, they probably won't die in 5 minutes.
Okay.
But they could still be really sick. They could be in critical condition, right?
But it's under control.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stabilize. Let's look at our last word. ICU.
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 Intensive care unit.
Okay, that's what it means. Intensive care unit.
Yep.
So that's the place where patients who are in critical condition are taken.
Right.
So what's the difference between an ICU and a regular room?
Well, I don't know. I've never been in one. But I think like patients are monitored regularly. And I think there's, maybe there are more nurses and fewer patients. There's just a higher level of care.
A higher level of care.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it's time for us to listen to our dialogue again. Now try to catch all of these medical terms that we've just talked about, and then we'll come back and explain a few phrases.
Help! Are you a doctor? My poor little Frankie has just stopped breathing. Oh my gosh, help me. I tried to perform CPR, but I don't know if I could get any air into his lungs. Oh, Frankie.
Ellen, get him hooked up to a monitor. Somebody page Dr. Hauser. Get the patient to hold still. I can't get a pulse. Okay, he's on the monitor. His BP's falling. He's flatlining.
No! Frankie! Doctor, do something!
Someone get her out of here. Get me the defibrillator. Okay, clear? Again, clear? Come on, damn it, I'm not letting go of you. Clear! I've got a pulse.
Okay, what's happening?
The patient is in acute respiratory failure. I think we're going to have to intubate.
All right, tubes in. Bag him. Somebody give him 10 cc's shot of adrenaline. Let's go. People, move, move.
Doctor, oh, thank God. How is he?
We've managed to stabilize Frankie, but he's not out of the woods yet. He's still in critical condition. We're moving him to intensive care, but...
Doctor, just do whatever it takes. I just want my little Frankie to be okay. I couldn't imagine life without my little hamster.
Okay, so there are some really good phrasal verbs in this dialogue.
Yeah, a couple of good phrasal verbs.
Okay, so let's take a look at these phrasal verbs in putting it together.
Putting it together.
All right, so what's our first phrasal verb today?
Hook up.
Hook up.
Hook up.
So to hook up.
So when we talk about hooking something up, we are usually talking about electronics, right, Marco?
Yeah, you usually hook up your TV or
Yeah.
your computer.
Yeah.
So why don't we listen to some examples of how we would use hook up?
Example 1.
I finally got a Nintendo Wii. Come on, help me hook it up to the TV.
Example 2.
I don't know how to hook up this new DVD player. Can you help me?
Example 3.
I just hooked up my new HD TV. Want to come over and watch a movie?
Great. So you can see that there are a few different variations of this pattern here with the word hook up because it's a phrasal verb.
Exactly.
And I think the same patterns can apply to our next phrasal verb.
Hold still.
Hold still.
Hold still.
Hold still.
So the doctor needed the patient to hold still.
Right. To stop moving.
Stop moving, exactly. Okay, let's listen to some more examples of hold still because, again, it's a really great phrasal verb that you can change up a little bit.
Example 1.
If you don't hold still, I can't see if you have something in your eye.
Example 2.
Hold still while she cuts your hair, or else she might make a mistake.
Example 3.
Hold still. You have a bee on your back.
Okay, hold still. Great word.
Yep. All right. One final phrase for you. Out of the woods.
Out of the woods.
Out of the woods.
Out of the woods.
So when someone's out of the woods, they're...
Free from danger.
Safe.
Okay, safe.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out of the woods.
Yeah.
I'm free. I'm safe.
I guess there are two variants of this phrase. We can say, I'm out of the woods, or we're out of the woods, or I guess we're not out of the woods yet.
Yep. So, okay. Out of the woods. Okay, so now it's time for us to listen to our dialogue again. And when we come back, Eric is going to tell us about her ER story.
Are you a doctor? My poor little Frankie has just stopped breathing. Oh my gosh, help me. I tried to perform CPR, but I don't know if I could get any air into his lungs. Oh, Frankie.
Ellen, get him hooked up to a monitor. Somebody page Dr. Hauser. Get the patient to hold still. I can't get a pulse. Okay, he's on the monitor. His BP's falling. He's flatlining.
No, Frankie! Doctor, do something!
Someone get her out of here. Get me the defibrillator. Okay, clear? Again, clear? Come on, damn it, I'm not letting go of you. Clear! I got a pulse.
Okay, what's happening?
Patient is in acute respiratory failure. I think we're going to have to intubate.
All right, tubes in, bag him. Somebody give him 10 cc's shot of adrenaline. Let's go, people, move, move!
Doctor, oh, thank God. How is he?
We've managed to stabilize Frankie, but he's not out of the woods yet. He's still in critical condition. We're moving him to intensive care, but...
Doctor, just do whatever it takes. I just want my little Frankie to be okay. I couldn't imagine life without my little hamster.
Okay, Erica, so what happened? What emergency did you have?
Well, it was with my cat.
Your cat.
Yes. I had some people over for dinner, and it was maybe 1:30 in the morning, and I went downstairs to let them out and show them where the taxis were. And then I came up, and I saw that the cat was gone. And it turned out that the cat fell out of the window.
Fell out of the window.
Yeah.
All right, but our listeners have to know, what story or what floor do you live on?
The 20th floor.
The 20th.
Yeah. So this is really dangerous, right?
That's really high up.
Yeah. So I went outside and I was calling for my cat and I was like, Mr. Finn, where are you?
How did you know he fell out?
I just knew.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mother's instinct.
I guess so. And so he was calling back to me, and so I picked him up and brought him to the house, and then we had to bring him to the vet, and it was 2:30, 3 in the morning at this time, and the vet was like not very happy that we woke him up out of bed.
But that was a really good emergency, though.
Yeah. So anyway, we brought him to the vet. He was in critical condition for a couple of days, and then we had to keep him in the vet's ICU for about a week. He broke his back. He broke two of his legs.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and then at home on bed rest for another 3 weeks.
Wow.
But now he's good as new.
Good as new.
Yeah.
He used up one of his 7 lives.
Yes,
9 lives.
Nine. Yeah. I think maybe 8 of his 9
8.
lives.
He's only got one left.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting story. I guess that's the inspiration under this dialogue.
Exactly. Sometimes we Anglos really treat our cats and our hamsters and our dogs like they're our children.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad Mr. Finn is okay and he's walking and good as new.
Yep, good as new.
So maybe our users have some stories about their pets being taken to the hospital.
I want to hear.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I've never had a pet actually break a leg or anything, so I don't have any pet stories this time, but we want to hear what you think. So come to EnglishPod.com, leave all your questions and comments and your stories.
Yes.
And we'll be there to answer them.
Well, guys, thanks for listening, and until next time,
Goodbye. Welcome back, English learners. My name is Marco, and I'm joined here by the lovely
Erica.
And today we're going to be bringing you another great lesson, one of the lessons that you requested.
Yes, that's right. Actually, Maxim S requested this one.
Right. I think he's really into research and investigation, so we're bringing you a great lesson about this topic.
Okay, so I'm really excited to hear this dialogue all about research. So why don't we start listening to 2 university professors discussing an important question.
We've been over this 1,000 times. The data is irrefutable. Look, we've done extensive research, built studies, and read the literature, and there is conclusive evidence to support my theory.
Horowitz, I beg to differ. Even in your most recent study, the investigative approach was flawed. You know as well as I do, the collection of data was not systematic, and there's a large margin of error. To draw a definitive conclusion based on that data would be misleading.
That is preposterous.
You are trying to single-handedly solve one of the world's greatest mysteries, and yet you're oblivious to the fact that you're wrong.
I am not wrong. The chicken came first.
No, the egg came first.
The chicken.
Egg.
The chicken.
The egg.
The chicken.
The egg.
All right, so interesting. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
It's an age-old question, isn't it?
And apparently, they are not going to agree anytime soon.
All right, well, what they can agree about is this awesome language. So why don't we take a look at it now in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, on Language Takeaway today, we have some really great words, and this first one is really good. Irrefutable.
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 The data is irrefutable.
Okay, so if the professor says that the data is irrefutable, what does he mean by that?
He's saying that you cannot deny it. It is really, really true.
It is really true. There is no way this is a lie.
Exactly.
Okay. Irrefutable evidence, for example.
Yeah, that's a great phrase. All right, so the professor complained that Dr. Horowitz's experiment was flawed.
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 So, flawed. Is that an adjective, a verb, or a noun?
It is an adjective here. Now, when something is flawed, there is a problem with it, right?
Okay,
There's
so
a
it
mistake.
has an error.
Yep.
Okay. So this adjective is a way of saying that his experiment has a flaw.
A mistake.
A
Exactly.
mistake. So flawed is the adjective of a flaw.
Right.
Okay.
Now, the reason that his study or his experiment was flawed is because that it was not systematic.
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 So systematic. That's an interesting word.
Now, I think we can recognize the word system in here, right?
Right?
So when something is systematic, it follows a process.
A certain order.
Yes, a certain system.
Right. So that's basically what systematic means, to follow a certain order, to be more organized, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And what about our next word?
Preposterous.
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 That is preposterous.
I love this phrase.
It usually goes together, right? That is preposterous.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it mean when I say that?
It means it's absurd. It's ridiculous.
Right. It doesn't make sense. I can't believe you said that.
All right. Well, this is a really interesting phrase, but I think it's a little bit more common when it's used by older people.
Yeah, I don't really see a young person going up to someone and say, hey, that's preposterous.
Yeah, but it is a wonderful phrase. Now, our final phrase for takeaway, oblivious.
Oblivious.
You're oblivious to the fact.
So a person that is oblivious to something.
They don't know, or they're unaware.
Okay, so they ignore maybe the facts, or
Exactly.
they don't see it.
Yeah, you're oblivious to the fact that we're in a recession.
Okay, or he is completely oblivious. You can just say it like that, right?
Yep, he doesn't know.
Okay, so we took a look at some of the great vocabulary we found in the dialogue, but there were also some really good phrases that I think we should look at.
Okay, and let's take a look at those and putting it together.
Putting it together.
You know, Marco, one of the things I love about English is the way that words seem to fit together, like blocks coming together. And here we have a lot of great examples of these words that fit together really nicely. Okay, so why don't we look at those? And our first one now is extensive research.
Extensive research.
Extensive research.
All right, so we know extensive means
a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
So that's really good when you put it together. Extensive research. It means you have
a lot of research.
You have really studied. You have really looked things up. Okay, extensive research.
Another great research-related phrase here is conclusive evidence.
Conclusive evidence.
Conclusive evidence.
All right, now the first word there, conclusive.
When something is conclusive, you can't argue with it. It's the final decision. All right, well, the professor complained that Horowitz's investigative approach was flawed, right? So this is our next phrase, investigative approach.
Investigative approach.
Investigative approach.
Okay, so I remember the word investigate is a verb.
Yes.
But in this case, it's
an adjective.
It's an adjective.
When something is investigative, it's obviously having to do with
an investigation. So the approach so when he said investigative approach,
just simply the way you investigate the problem.
The way he investigated. Okay. Very interesting. What about this other phrase that I saw? It was really interesting. Definitive conclusion.
Definitive conclusion.
So a definitive conclusion.
All right. Well, again, I think we know the word conclusion, right?
Okay.
So it's a final judgment or decision.
All right.
When something is definitive, you can't argue with it or change it.
Okay. So the conclusion or the final result is final. Like there is no way of arguing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Definitive conclusion.
This is some great language. So why don't we listen to it one more time in the dialogue?
We've been over this 1,000 times. The data is irrefutable. Look, we've done extensive research, built studies, and read the literature, and there is conclusive evidence to support my theory.
Horowitz, I beg to differ. Even in your most recent study, the investigative approach was flawed. You know as well as I do, the collection of data was not systematic, and there's a large margin of error. To draw a definitive conclusion based on that data would be misleading.
That is preposterous.
You are trying to single-handedly solve one of the world's greatest mysteries, and yet you're oblivious to the fact that you're wrong.
I am not wrong. The chicken came first.
No! The egg came first!
The chicken.
Egg!
The chicken.
The egg!
The chicken.
The egg!
So, an interesting question. What do you think? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, if you ask me, it was the egg.
It was the egg?
Yeah.
Interesting. What about why did the chicken cross the road?
To get to the other side.
Do you think that's really the reason?
Well, there's a million different reasons, but this is great. I'm glad you brought that up because this is like the classic English joke.
The classic English joke, right? Why did the chicken cross the road? And the answer is always...
Well, there are a million answers. So, do you guys know any chicken jokes?
Yeah, why don't you come to our website, englishpod.com, and on the comments section, why don't you leave us your thoughts on what came first, the chicken or the egg, and why do you think the chicken crossed the road?
All right, well, we really look forward to hearing your ideas, and Marco and I will be around to answer your questions. So, I think we're out of time for today, but thanks for listening, and...
We'll see you there.
Goodbye.
Bye. Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
Today we're bringing you an upper intermediate lesson and something that we all do.
Right. Talking to ourselves.
Talking to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I think everyone does it. You think to yourself or you talk to yourself.
Yep.
And we're going to be doing that today, but we're going to be looking at some specific vocabulary. Erica, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, unfortunately, we're going to be following a guy as he's in a really embarrassing situation, and we're going to hear him call himself some bad names in his mind.
So he's a little bit nervous and he thinks he is not very smart, right?
That's right.
Okay, so before we start with this dialogue, there are a couple of words that we should look at in vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, we're going to hear both of these words in the dialogue, and the first one is famished.
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 Okay, so famished is an adjective.
That's right, meaning very, very, very hungry.
Very, very hungry. Okay, so just very hungry, very easy.
Yes.
Famished.
Now, what about our next one? Sexist.
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 Another adjective to describe a person, right?
Right. Or a thing, I guess. Like, yeah, an idea.
Okay, so a sexist person would be...
somebody who judges people by their sex.
Okay.
So, like, all women are stupid, for example.
Which is not true, of course.
No, of course not.
Right? So sexist works both ways.
Yes.
A woman can be sexist, a man could be sexist.
Exactly. Meaning the woman thinks all men are stupid.
Which is also not true.
Yes. Let's just be clear about that.
All right. So now that we've taken a look at these two phrases, let's start with our dialogue, and we'll be back to talk about all the great words.
Miss, your salad.
Looks good. I'm positively famished.
And for you, sir. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
I can't believe she's on a date with me. I'm so lucky. I must be the luckiest guy in the world. I want to scream at the top of my lungs. I'm the luckiest dude in the world. Oh, shut up. Don't be such a dumbass. She's so hot. Wait, I can't say that. That's sexist. She's so hot, she's making me sexist. Oh my god. I'm such a tool. Okay, get it together. Oh, she's eating salad. Oh, right. I have a salad. Oh, crap. Which fork do I use? Damn it. She's gonna think I'm a moron. What the hell are all these forks for? Which one did she use? Okay, chill. Be cool. Be cool. Just take a fork. Eat your salad. Sorry. What were you saying?
You're eating my salad.
Oh, yes. It's delicious.
Okay, embarrassing first date, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I really do feel sorry for this guy.
Well, it happens to us. Sometimes we are in the company of a very beautiful girl and we just get really nervous.
All right. Well, psychologists call this negative self-talk.
Really?
Yeah, this sort of calling yourself names and talking negatively about yourself. But actually, you can use some of this language to talk negatively about
others.
Yeah. So why don't we look now at this language in Language Takeaway?
Language takeaway.
So on Language Takeaway today, we have 5 words. Let's start with our first one.
Dumbass.
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 Okay. Now, this isn't a very polite word, I would say.
Definitely not polite.
Okay. But what is a dumbass?
Well, it's obviously a dumb, stupid idiot.
Okay, so it's a person that is not very intelligent.
And our next word is also quite similar.
Moron.
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 A moron.
If a person is a dumbass or a person is a moron, what's the difference?
Well, basically, a moron is someone who is not smart, who is very unintelligent.
Okay.
Okay, so they don't know what 1 + 1 is.
Okay.
All right. But a dumbass is a person who does stupid things.
Okay.
So maybe a dumbass, like you're planning a bank robbery and the dumbass forgets to bring the gun.
Okay, that is a dumbass. All
Yeah.
right. So maybe moron is a little bit less offensive, and it's
Yeah.
actually, you'll find it in the dictionary, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a dumbass, I don't think you'll find it.
Yeah, it's slang.
It's slang, exactly.
Now, what about this next? It's also a negative name you can call people. A tool.
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 This is very strange because I don't know how a tool can be something negative
Yeah.
towards a person.
Yeah.
But it actually means the opposite, right? If a person is called a tool, it means they are
Useless.
useless, right?
Yeah.
So if you ever called a tool, they're saying that you're useless.
Exactly.
You're good for nothing.
All right, well, these are 3 interesting words. So why don't we hear some examples of each of these words in use?
Example 1.
I hate Tom. He's such a dumbass. Last week he borrowed my mobile phone and dropped it in the pool.
Example 2.
I don't like Kevin very much. He can be a real moron at times.
Example 3.
He was looking for a job, but he didn't even have a resume prepared. He's such a tool.
Okay, so great examples, and here at English Pod, we're bringing you real street talk.
Exactly. Language as it is spoken by today's youth.
Okay, now let's take a look at our last 2 words.
All right, well, these phrases you can use when you're trying to calm yourself down and make yourself relax a little bit, right?
Right. Let's take a look at the next one. Chill.
Chill.
Okay, chill.
Chill.
So again, relax.
Calm down.
Calm down.
Yeah.
You need to chill.
Yes. And then you also need to be cool.
Be cool.
Be cool.
Now, if you can tell, the pattern is related to temperature, right? Chill is cold, cool is similar to cold.
Yep.
So again, that's what it means, to relax.
To calm down your emotions.
Right.
Make your emotions not so hot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so chill, be cool.
Exactly. And you use them together like that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, chill also has another way of using it, right?
Exactly.
You can say, I'm chilling with my friends.
Yeah, we're chilling here in the English Pod studio.
Which means we're just relaxing.
Yes.
We are just having fun.
Yep.
Not doing anything, right?
Exactly. But you can't say chilling. You have to drop the G.
Yeah, you have to try. Right. You can't say I'm chilling.
Yeah.
You have to say I'm chilling.
I'm chilling.
Okay, so that's all for language takeaway. But now let's take a look at some of the really useful phrases that we saw in this dialogue in Fluency Builder.
Fluency builder.
Okay, so this guy is so happy he's on this date that he wants to scream at the top of his lungs.
Scream at the top of my lungs.
Scream at the top of my lungs.
So basically, he just wants to, scream.
To shout really loudly.
Really loudly.
Yeah.
He's so excited, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so for example, sometimes you're at a concert, right?
Yep.
And you need to talk to your friend and you're screaming at the top of your lungs because the other person can't hear you.
Exactly. Or maybe you're lost in the woods and you need to scream at the top of your lungs so that someone will hear you and find you.
All right, very good. Okay, so scream at the top of my lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Our next phrase.
Get it together.
Get it together.
Get it together.
So if I tell you, Erica, you need to get it together.
Basically, you're telling me to calm down, relax.
So pull your emotions together,
Yeah.
get your ideas straight.
Right. So it kind of gives you this idea that you got to pull, like you said, pull your emotions together in a little box and tie them up.
All right, so get it together.
Yep. So, Marco, when would you use this phrase, get it together?
I guess when somebody is either very emotional, maybe crying or
Yeah.
very nervous,
Yeah.
you tell the person, oh, get it together,
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
Or when somebody maybe is not doing something good in their life,
Yeah.
like making bad decisions
Yeah.
or not being responsible, you tell that person, you need to get it together,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so now why don't we move on to our next phrase? And this is really, really high frequency. I think
Yep.
you would hear it all the time.
All right. So, what the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
So why would you say what the hell?
Well, obviously you're asking a question, right? Because you
Right.
got your W, you got your what. But when you say the hell, you're putting emphasis on the what.
So you're asking a really strong question.
Right, but it's not polite.
It's not polite.
Yep.
Okay. So if I say, what the hell is going on? What's happening?
Really, really what's happening?